we have to be honest. Even with the help from Washington, we're going to have to make some difficult choices and do more with less. We know we won't be able to do everything we want, but rest assured, we'll meet our commitments to Vermonters. We have to remember that most businesses are small and owned by our neighbors. They're often the first to sponsor the local Little League or community fundraiser, and too many of them have seen their life's work and life savings evaporate through no fault of their own. That's why we devoted about a quarter of the $1.2 billion we received in COVID relief funds to help these businesses survive. And millions more will be available in the next aid package. But that still may not be enough. So we must help employers in other responsible ways, like reducing, not increasing, the cost of unemployment insurance without impacting benefits to the unemployed. And surely, we can't add to the burden with a payroll tax on them or their workers. Tax increment financing, known as TIFs, allows towns to keep a portion of their state tax dollars to fund projects that spur private investment, add housing, and attract new jobs and development. Right now, TIFs are only available to our larger cities. But if lawmakers will work with us, we can make this available to smaller towns in every region. I'll also propose we modernize Act 250 to eliminate duplication and reduce costs, making it easier to revitalize downtowns and village centers in places like Newport, Springfield, and Rutland. And I'll invest more for the revitalization of homes, helping low and moderate income Vermonters save money and reduce emissions that contribute to climate change. We know our demographics have been our Achilles heel. With an aging population and shrinking workforce, we just don't have the people we need. Think of it this way. We need more taxpayers, not more taxes. To address this, my budget will invest more tools to recruit and retain working families, because there's nothing more important to revitalizing our economy or ensuring we have the revenue needed to support things we care about than growing our workforce. We have a lot of work to do to help every child recover from the learning opportunities that were lost. So I've asked the Agency of Education, the Department of Health, working closely with school districts, teachers, and pediatricians to develop a plan to safely get every child in every district back into the classroom full-time before the end of the school year, hopefully sometime in April. I'm proposing to organize all the state's child development work within the Agency of Education. This move will break down another unnecessary bureaucratic silo. It will finally unite the state's experts on childcare, preschool, K through 12, and technical education, which is long overdue. And it will give us a clear picture of the impact of these investments to deliver better, more coordinated service for our kids, parents, child care centers, and taxpayers. And our providers should know we will respect the role of private centers and preschools. We also need to contain healthcare costs in the long run. With that in mind, I believe it's time to set a cap on annual increases and continue moving to a system where we pay for quality, not just quantity, in a way that prioritizes prevention on the part of the patient as well as the provider. These are the goals of the all-payer model, which you might have heard about over the last 3 years. In addition, this year I'll propose more improvements to our mental health system and renew our focus on strengthening drug education, prevention, and treatment programs. None of the priorities outlined tonight or any proposal the legislature puts forward will be more important to our recovery than our effort to end the pandemic. And I know the question we all have is, when will we get back to normal? When can we safely get together with our friends and family? Go to the movies, birthday parties, fairs, and weddings? When can we stop worrying about things like the distance between us, if people are wearing masks, or the uncomfortable conversation with someone who just doesn't believe the science? When will this nightmare be over? And how do we get there as soon as possible with the fewest lives lost and the strongest economy? I think about this every single day. And I'll be honest, while the end of this crisis can't come soon enough, we don't know exactly when it will be. But we can see light at the end of the tunnel, and it gets brighter every day. We've already vaccinated about 20,000 people. And at the rate the federal government is currently sending doses, we believe that number will be about 120,000 by the end of the winter, including all who are at the greatest risk of death. As vaccinations increase, we hope to see fatalities decrease and daily case counts stabilize. This should allow us to reduce restrictions and work our way back to where we can safely gather, travel without quarantine, and more. It's our hope that sometime this summer, possibly earlier, we'll reach the point where life will begin to feel normal again. But a lot depends on how many doses of vaccine the federal government makes available and how many Vermonters choose to get vaccinated. Until then, it's up to each of us to continue doing all we can to prevent the spread of the virus. Because the fact is, we have some tough sledding ahead. It may be a difficult winter. I know how hard this is and how hard it's been, but I know we can get through it if we stick together.